Learn how to master Google's E.E.A.T framework for health and allow your website to kill it. Hi, I'm Matt Hayter, and thank you for joining me in another one of these free tutorials on how to get your website getting you more patients online. My mate George is here helping me today. A few years ago, Google realized that it had a problem. There was copious amounts of misinformed information on legal issues, financial issues, and health issues on the internet. And some of them were ranking really well on Google. So to fix this problem, they came up with a framework. They called these issues Your Money, Your Life, YMYL. And the framework they came up with was E.E.A.T, which is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And if you learn how to show all of these credentials, your website will do so much better and you can establish yourself as an expert in your area. Now, some of the suggestions that Google have on this are going to butt heads a little bit with authorities in some places. I know that in Australia we have APRA, the Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Authority, and it does not like us using testimonials. And I can understand why. People can get them from friends and family and all that sort of thing, and they may not be authentic. So it's going to take some prudence on your part as to what parts of these you include and what parts you don't. But I'm going to mention all of them anyway, so that they're out there. So we'll start with E for experience. So experience is showing, obviously, that you have experience working in the health profession that you're doing. Whether it's podiatry or whether it's optometry, you need to show that you are a person doing it regularly, getting the results, and this helps Google to know that you're legitimate. So some of the ways that you can do these, and you don't need to do all of them, but some ways that you can write up case studies. You can have interesting cases that have come in, how you dealt with them, and the results that you achieved. Some people like to do videos of procedures and treatments. That's not for everybody either, but some people can get good results from that and show their experience. Other things are showing behind the scenes content. So going into your clinic with a video or just taking photos and showing what happens in your clinic, interviewing other staff members and about their experience at the clinic. These things can all help. Another big one, and one that I've used a lot over the years, is to write blog content. Now, blog content can show that you know what you're talking about, that you've been there, and you need to constantly update the blog content to help it to be accurate and usable for people. So moving on to the second E, which is expertise. So some of the things that you need to do, and these are pretty much essential, is to have a photo of yourself and any other practitioners and to list the degree, diploma, or whatever qualification it is that allows you to practice this health discipline. That is really crucial that you have that on there. Then you can go further and you can cite any areas of interest that you may have or any specializations within your profession. So if you've achieved something like that, it's very valuable to put it on your website. Any content that you have on your website, as I mentioned before, needs to be kept up to date. So it's possibly worth setting a reminder in a calendar for every month or every 2 months to generally go over your website, look at the content. If you find something that you know has been updated recently, cite a source for it and make sure that everything is current and usable for the end user. When you are citing sources in your content, make sure that they are reputable. So whether or not it's a publication or whether it's on a university website or a government website, cite those. They're of the highest authority. If you've ever spoken at a conference, put that on there. Or if you've been published in a magazine or a journal, make sure you put that on there. That shows that people trust you enough to engage you and put your content out there. And that's a great influence on how Google will see your expertise. So next we move on to A, the third feature in E.E.A.T, and that is authoritativeness. Now you will notice that some of these overlap a little bit, and that's just the nature of the beast when we're talking about these sorts of things. But to show your authoritativeness, it's worth being involved in any associations or interest groups that are relevant to what you practice. Being involved in them and stating that on your website is a good way to show authoritativeness. One way that I've used in the past is high quality backlinks. They can be absolutely gold for your rankings on Google. Now, there are different ways you can do that. Just by publishing really high quality content, you will slowly get backlinks if it is particularly good content. But there is another way. If you write a really good piece, you can send an email to certain websites or practices, they may even be in other countries, but where you think that their readers may benefit from what you've produced, you can humbly request from them, please feel free to link to my site if you think that it would be valuable for your end users. I know it sounds a bit bold to do it, but I have used it with effect, and they've been quite happy then to quote it. They may not want to write about that particular part. They may be looking at something else. And I've often found it's something quite, something I didn't think would rank really well, but would get backlinks, but that does. So one that I did, which got a lot of backlinks, was I just explained all the intrinsic muscles of the foot, and I had a picture and detailed them and that sort of thing. And what I found was that people were talking about certain conditions. They didn't want to go into all the explanation of the intrinsic muscles, so they just linked to my information, and that really helps the rankings as well. If you are able to speak at webinars, podcasts, all those sorts of things, that really shows that people are interested in what you've got to say. It gives a sense of authoritativeness to you and can really help your website to do very well. Here's one that can go against the grain with the authorities sometimes, so I'm totally leaving it up to you whether you do it or not, but encouraging positive reviews, there is no doubt that it can have a positive effect on your rankings in Google. Now, some overseeing authorities totally discourage that, but I know that a lot of people still do it. So again, it's entirely up to you, but it is something that will help with rankings on Google. Now we get to the final factor, T, trustworthiness, E.E.A.T. So obviously you want people to be able to trust you. They're not going to come and see you if they don't trust you. So I've mentioned before how you should put any credentials that you have clearly, and on your about page or a meet the team page or however you want to do it, you should have a photograph of each team member, have their qualifications, whatever it is that qualifies them to be able to practice your particular type of your particular healthcare area. And you should also, on that about page, you should clearly have your physical address, an email address for people to contact you if they have an issue, and a phone number so that they can clearly call you. All of those things are really crucial to help build trust. Don't overpromise. This is a big one, and we all probably learnt this when we were studying for our degrees or diplomas. Don't tell people that you can fix everything just by them coming in and spending some money with you. Be realistic about options and manage expectations. We're always taught to manage people's expectations because not everything goes well. Things that work really well for 95% of the population don't work so well for the other 5%. So we need to be very careful about not over-promising. Any sources that we cite, make sure that they're clearly cited so that people know where you're getting your information so people know where you're getting your information from. That is crucial as well to build trust. When you receive if you do receive any Google or Facebook reviews or whatever medium it's on, be they positive or negative, you need to engage with all of them and reply to all of them. That can be a bit of work if you're getting a lot of them, but it's a great thing if you're getting a lot of reviews. So if they're a positive review, take the time to say, thank you so much for taking the time to write this. We are delighted that you had such a great experience at our clinic. Please let us know if there's anything more. Anything, you write your own, obviously. For a negative one, you need to write something like, thank you for taking the time to write this. We are sorry that you had this experience today. We would love to rectify the situation if you are willing to let us contact you. And that way, that opens the door. And I've found that when things have gone wrong, it's about the way you handle the things that go wrong that really builds your reputation. It's easy to handle the things that go right. You do it with a smile and say, glad we could help you out, there you go. But things that go wrong, it's a real skill to get good at managing those as well. Use proper medical disclaimers. So when you write a blog, make sure that you have a properly written disclaimer, and you can find out online how to write it legally for your jurisdiction, because they'll all be a little bit different. But basically what you're trying to say is this is not a substitute for you going and seeing a professional in this area, whether it's us or somebody else. If you've got a problem, you need to see somebody. This is giving you information about it and showing you that we know what we're talking about, but it doesn't substitute for professional advice. The very last one is one that I can't imagine any of you have an issue with, but you need to have that S, HTTPS, in your URL. If you don't, Google will hardly even show your page to anybody anyway these days. They really got tough on that. So there we are. We've got the whole E, E, A and T. I'm going to put notes down below showing a checklist for you so that you can go through them at your leisure. You can work on it slowly. Google actually has people looking at websites. Believe it or not, it's not all totally automated. You'd imagine it is now, but they do actually review websites, and they can flag things that they find that they think might be not trustworthy and give you a penalty for it. So make sure that you do as many of these things as possible. Look, thank you so much for watching to the end. A bit of a long one this time, but it's a really valuable one. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.